What is going on, everyone? Happy Boxing Day for this special edition of Sports Burst. Not boxing like Muhammad Ali, greatest of all time, but a different kind of boxing.
Yeah,
just Google search
the kind that nobody knows anything about.
Especially down here.
Can't get like a clear answer about this. I've Googled it. Nope, nothing specific.
Yeah, I've heard different versions as well. Well, thank you for joining us here. We won't talk about Boxing Day, but we do have some schedule-related stuff about boxing that Jurgen Klopp is not too happy about. We're also going to touch on Barcelona and the new rumors that they might be getting Neymar back, even though he's been suing them for like a year and a half. We'll get into more details about that. And of course, we'll talk about Inter Miami and a certain player who's now a manager in Liga who might be heading to South Florida. Might be. We'll have that and much more coming up on this special Boxing Day edition of Sports Best. Eric doesn't approve of my Turkish or my horrible British accent.
No, your Turkish is not that bad. That English accent was
it was
terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
It was a British accent from someone who grew up in Miami with Haitian parents. That's the kind of British accent there.
Best descriptor ever.
Yes, all right. We want to hear from you, so hit us up on the comments here on our Facebook page because we got a lot to talk about, some interesting stuff. First, beginning with Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, he didn't make our headlines.
Nah, because it just broke. The news just broke right before we got on the air. Guess who's back in the Serie A? Zlatan is going to be signing a deal with Milan to play for Rossoneri. Eric, is this enough to help Associazione Calcio Milan get into a Europa League spot?
Well, it certainly can't hurt, right? I mean, they are dreadful coming off that embarrassing defeat to Atalanta 5-0 where they were played off the park. They could have conceded perhaps some more goals. A 6-month contract for the 38-year-old who last played in Milan from 2010 to 2012, scored 56 goals in 85 appearances.
Ooh.
I'm all about the stats today.
Good.
The 6-month contract, I think, has something to do with Milan wanting some proof that he can still kick it at that level. Playing in Serie A, very different from playing in MLS, where he scored, 50-something goals in 58 appearances.
Almost a goal a game.
And just to add to that real quick, just read recently that Cristiano Ronaldo said that playing in Serie A is the most difficult league he's ever played in terms of scoring goals. And I forget who he said that to, another player just recently. So Zlatan Ibrahimovic has to bring the goods with him. And if he does, I think you'll get an extension at the end of the season. But there are lots of positives to his arrival.
Okay, yeah, that certainly will increase. Well, Milan's always been a big profile club, but the way they've been struggling the last few years, they could use his goal scoring touch. And if he can come close to the rate of goals scored that he did in MLS with the LA Galaxy, Milan have a shot to get to move up and get into Europa League.
Yeah, but I mean that's wishful thinking that he's going to be able to score those goals. But
especially at 38 years old.
You know where I see this paying off? Number one, he may re-energize Piontek, who arrived last January from Genoa. He was scoring goals for fun for the Genovese. Comes to Milan, starts off really hot as well. He slowed down. He's the kind of striker I think that only really delivers in a couple of different systems, but I'm not going to talk about that. And then you have Rafael Leão there, who went from Lille, the former Sporting Youth product. And I think somebody like Leão can learn a lot from Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens there as Zlatan back in the Serie A for Milan. All right, let's move on here and talk a little bit about Barcelona because Neymar is back in the rumor mill to return to Camp Nou, if you believe some of the reports here. Now, from what I was researching, that Barcelona might exploit a clause that might allow him to actually come to the Camp Nou for cheaper, a lot cheaper than what PSG paid to bring him over to the Parc des Princes, about almost like $150 million euros cheaper. So there's that situation there. We won't get into the details of the money.
Well, the problem there is that his contract doesn't have a release clause like a lot of other contracts. And so what could happen there is you could have a legal fight on your hands.
Right.
Because we know that since the Bosman ruling, players have had all the power, and you could potentially see a situation where Neymar and Barcelona together take this situation to court, and then court would decide what the release fee would be, and that goes back to your point that it could be a lot lower than the 200 and something million that PSG ended up paying for the Brazilian. But what's interesting about this story, of course, it comes up just before the January transfer window, not that it would ever happen in January.
Right.
But this comes, a week and a half after Neymar said publicly that he loves being in Paris and he never wanted to leave. I mean, it's like
when in the summer he said he wanted to go.
He wanted to go, right? It's funny. We live, and it's not just in sports, in politics as well. We live in this world where people say things, they'll say it in front of camera, and then they'll deny them about a week or two later, and people are like, "Yep, you never said the original version. Nope, that never happened." You know, it's like what's the name of that show? The Twilight.
The Twilight Zone.
The Twilight Zone. That's where we live. That is what planet Earth is right now.
Summer, the winter transfer market and the summer transfer market can be the Twilight Zone. That is for sure. As Neymar, this situation is just going to get more and more complicated, and then he still has a lawsuit about the money that's owed him from the contract before. I mean, there's a lot of legalese going on that we can't get into. Yeah, that we can't get into, that we're not lawyers, and I think, really honestly, no one is interested in all the legal
nobody
part.
really cares.
They want to eventually find out if he's going to go there or not. So, is he the best option? I don't want to say replace Messi, because he is younger than Messi, and Messi eventually is going to leave. But is he the best, I guess, substitute for now in case whenever Messi starts to slow down?
Well, Messi's going to sign an extension, right?
Yeah,
I feel like he signs an extension once every couple of years, and nobody is going to replace Messi because he's irreplaceable. But I look at Griezmann, and considering the amount of money that Barcelona paid for Griezmann, you'd think that the idea there was that Griezmann at some point would take up the role of Messi if Messi were to leave. The problem is that the Frenchman is 29 years old, so only 3 years younger than Messi. By the time Messi leaves, let's say he's 34 or 35, Griezmann is going to be 32, 33. Then you're going to have to look for a replacement for Griezmann. Yep. Neymar right now is 27 or 28 years old. I don't remember off the top of my head, but one of those two. Yes, look, he's the guy that I think would make an enormous difference to Barcelona. We've been saying it since the very beginning. Yep. And there is no doubt that if he's there, if and when Messi leaves, that he becomes the big dog, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if Barcelona start looking for younger guys. The problem is, I can't think, apart from Kylian Mbappe, I can't think of anybody who is a bona fide superstar in his early 20s who would seamlessly take up the role of team leader at a club like Barcelona.
2 words, La Masia. Just save the money and see if you can, bring up some of them young kids that are talented. And that
well, they're there,
but
are they going to? But they're there. I mean, you got Carles Alenya, who's hardly played. Ansu Fati, everybody is sort of looking at him as the future pearl.
There's that Ricky Puig is supposed to be really good too, that I've seen a couple times.
Yeah, but Ricky Puig is supposed to be the Xavi 2.0, but he hasn't had that many opportunities in the midfield for Barcelona, although he should.
Right.
And then you also have Carles Perez, who I think has a lot of ability, but I don't think anybody looks at him as a star in the making.
Right. That's going to see Barcelona got to tap into that youth academy, and then, they're going to have to buy some players to supplement that squad as well. All right. Quick comment here from Mukhtar Ba. First of all, big up Mukhtar. This Barca Neymar is confusing. Neymar is suing Barcelona. Barca want Ney back, and then he has is that the slap face? Oh no, he has this emoji. Like, what's going on that emoji?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think this emoji might even be more appropriate because it's more confusing. There's the dip between the lawsuits and everything.
Yeah, this is a story that's never going to end.
Until he signs with Barcelona.
Yeah.
I think when he leaves PSG and he goes back to Barcelona, that's when the story will end. And my God, I hope it doesn't drag on like Bale or Rabiot, because Lord.
Or like the Neymar story this summer.
Yeah.
I sat in this very seat for days on end during the summer, and this is all we talked about, and I hated it.
Yeah.
Moving on.
All right, let's talk about Inter Miami, because they're still looking for a manager or coach. Now the next name to pop up is Patrick Vieira of Nice. I think personally he wanted the Arsenal job. Obviously that didn't go to Arsenal because Mikel Arteta has that job now. So what are your thoughts about Inter Miami possibly getting Vieira? He's denied it, but still fun to talk about it a little bit here.
Look.
No, is that a good fit?
There's a new ownership at Nice. Apparently, there's been some friction between the new ownership and Patrick Vieira, but things seem to be steadying themselves right now. He's in 10th place, only 3 or 4 points away from 4th place. So that just shows you how close everything is in Liga. If you take away, PSG kind of running away with it, although Marseille still has a say in the whole affair. It just doesn't make any sense to me that Patrick Vieira would leave MLS, go to a big European league, one of the top 5 leagues, to a relatively big club, a club that played in the Champions League under Lucien Favre, a club that has a lot of investment now going forward. He's got a real opportunity to reinforce that club. Why would he go back to MLS? And no disrespect to MLS, I love the league, and I hate it when people denigrate it because it's silly. I'm very much, and I think you're the same in this regard, George, that if soccer is to become the preeminent sport in the United States, our domestic league has to grow every year. It has to get better and better, and there needs to be a fan involvement in the league. So as much as I'd love to see Patrick Vieira, because I used to see him week in and week out when I was covering NYCFC, he's not coming back to Major League Soccer. Okay. Our producer is crawling under the view of the camera towards us to give us something. That was almost perfect. I think we saw a little bit of your hair at the very end.
That was nice.
But behind the scenes here at beIN Sports,
we have broken the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Well, Eduardo Avila wants to say, I hope you fellas had a wonderful holiday. Thanks for always making lunchtime entertaining. So thank you very much, Eduardo. We appreciate you joining us here. He actually put the accent over the E, so I almost said lunch time entertaining. So there you go. But thanks, Eduardo. We love you and thank you for watching us. But Vaughn Gray says, yo, it's a bursty Christmas. So there you go.
It is a bursty, and you know what's bursting? My stomach.
Yeah, for real. I ate way too much. Especially
I need to lose some weight.
That's what 2020 is for. Besides, but just real quick, don't make losing your weight your New Year's resolution. Because we all know after 2 weeks in January, it doesn't, you stop doing it.
Start today on Boxing Day.
There you go. That's right. Boxing Day. Boom.
Enough with these New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, for real. All right, let's get some more comments here. Now, I'm reading it. My vision is crazy, so I have to do this. That's how you know I'm getting old. Because this is normal vision, and after up close, I have to read it like this. So there you go. See, and you can tell. I'm
looking at you on screen. You look like an old grandma.
Hey,
let me do this crossword here. What's on the TV guide?
Amrinder Bhatti says there are also reports Barca's top. Oh, I lost it for a second there.
I didn't even understand what you said.
That's how old people talk. Oh, maybe not. Okay. All right, let's move on before I make this show ridiculous. Okay, talk about Boxing Day. Jurgen Klopp not too happy with the fixtures.
No, every year he says the same thing.
Every year the same thing. He calls it a crime. It is very congested this time of the year. I always thought that it was wrong that the English Premier League clubs don't get that holiday break that La Liga gets, Liga 1 gets, Germany gets, even Turkish Super League. They
although
take that
they're
month
not,
off.
although they're not getting that much of a break this year.
But at least they get that week.
Yeah.
At least a week off. They don't have that in the English Premier League 48-hour span for between matches. What are your thoughts about club's comments about the crime and the schedule congestion?
He's right. It's not good for players because they are being physically torn apart by game in, game out. Look at Liverpool, for example. Liverpool just went to the FIFA Club World Cup where they won. They had to line up a team of reserves in the League Cup against Aston Villa, and they got obliterated.
Right.
And that was just so that they would make that fixture, right? So they took players to Qatar, and they left some here. Now they come back, and they have to play in a huge game against Leicester. This is a game where...
Top two teams in the league.
Yeah, let's be very honest about this, that if Liverpool have already won the title, essentially. But if they win this, it's an exclamation point on the title, especially because Leicester lost 3-1 to Man City last week. But these are players who don't have time with their families.
Right.
These are players who are racking up the miles, and they don't have enough time to rehabilitate themselves, physically that is, with the trainers. And even Klopp said himself, look, as much sports science as we have, as many things as we have developed in order to keep players fresh, to cut short prolonged injury bouts, nothing has been created to basically rehabilitate these players when they're utterly exhausted.
Yeah, and even psychologically, I would think they're mentally exhausted as well, playing those games back to
traveling.
back. Traveling, yeah.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. And let's talk about the weather conditions as well, which it's cold, it's rainy, it's windy in England, in Great Britain this time of year. So, look, I totally understand. Mourinho came out and said exactly the same thing.
I'm glad you mentioned Mourinho because Joel Garcia says, Klopp has not been the only manager that has said this. Pep, Mourinho, Wenger, Ferguson have all said it before. If Wenger and Ferguson have said it, then maybe they need to do something about it.
Yeah, but they're not going to.
Yeah.
Because it's about the money. It's about money.
Yeah.
Plus, they don't have competition. Look, for the next 3 days, or is it 2? Well, it doesn't matter. You've got Premier League games. What competition do they have right now?
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody's,
no La Liga, no
exactly.
Liga, no Champions League, nothing.
Everybody's got their eyes on the Premier League, and that means a lot of money. So they're not going to listen to the coaches and the players. Players are fodder for their ultimate goal, and that goal is cha-ching.
True. That's true. Oh, wait a minute. First leg of the Liga MX final, Monterrey and I think America today.
Yeah.
Is it the Clausura or Apertura? I always get them confused. I think Apertura tournament.
It's a super. What is it? The Liguilla, right?
It's the final. Yeah. So that's today first leg. So,
but that's
who you got? Monterrey or America? Are you a Rayado or a Águila?
I got Monterrey in this game because they were the most impressive team in terms of the way they played in the Club World Cup. I thought they played wonderful football and very unlucky not to make it to the final.
Let's get some more comments here. Jean-Kiel says he's right, but honestly, all these guys get paid grown man money, and their meds get paid even more grown man money. Time to step up and earn that money. Jeez, but you need a break, though, Jean.
I know,
you can't work
man.
every day.
Yeah, exactly. Woo. I mean, what are you doing with that money? Like, you're putting it into the bank, and then you're not getting to enjoy it with your family and all that. And look, I understand that point, though. No, go ahead.
No, finish what you were saying.
Look, I understand that point. You look at these players who are making a ridiculous amount of money, and there's a part of us that goes, come on, stop complaining and work. But work is work. Look, I love soccer more than pretty much anything in the world.
Okay. Except your wife and your daughter.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
You got to say that.
And my mom and my, and maybe one or two of my friends.
Okay.
But just one or two, okay? And you're not included, George. I'm sorry. I love you, but I will say this. Look, I played in college. I did not play professionally, but I played in college, and I loved it. But those 4 years, 3.5 actually, because I quit the team my senior year, I just hated going to practice. Now, I'm not getting paid.
Right.
But it's once something becomes a task and you're doing it day in and day out, and then you have to take care of all those bruises. You got to sit in those ice baths, and you got to be in the trainer. Because people think that it's like you go to practice for 1.5 hours. It's not what happens. It's 1.5 hours of practice, and then you're spending another hour in the gym, and then you're spending another hour with a trainer, and then
you're watching film.
Look, it's exhausting. So I know they're making a lot of money, but it doesn't mean that psychologically they're in the best place possible all the time.
All right.
Good job.
Sounds like a job.
Yeah,
that was Maria Britos who was sneaking under the camera view.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Oh, okay. Let's get back to some comments here. Good point, Eric. Rich Murray says, good point. The EPL will not change this. And as I say about soccer in Brazil, congestion is a challenge to coaches' quality. Yeah, well, I think we all agree that modern footballers play way too many games anyway, even if they don't play through Boxing Day or the holiday between national team, the Champions League, all these different things. I think that modern
preseason now, which is basically the Harlem Globetrotters tour.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of Brazilian football, because of Jorge Jesus winning the Libertadores and winning the Brasileirão, there is now a bit of a fad in Brazilian football where they want to go get Portuguese coaches. And Santos have just signed Josualdo Ferreira, who coached all three. Say it again. Josualdo Ferreira, who's a lovely guy, and Josualdo Ferreira, and he actually coached Zinedine Zidane at Bordeaux. He was the assistant there in 1996. But it's interesting because he hasn't coached for a few years. Yeah. He's been a pundit, and yet he's just gone to Brazil to coach the team that finished second in the league.
Yeah, under Sampaoli.
Sampaoli.
Sampaoli was the manager of Santos Futebol Clube, the legendary
Peixe.
club.
Peixe. The fish.
With the great Pelé and the great Neymar amongst the great players that have played.
What about Elano?
Oh, we are just getting word that Chelsea lost 2-0 to Southampton.
2-0 to. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's 3 That 3-4-3 didn't work out for Frank Lampard today. It didn't work against Mourinho,
it sure
though.
didn't. All right, let's get some more comments here. Jorge Saravia, going back to the Neymar thing. Arsenal 1-1.
Mikel Arteta, who played Lacazette.
Against Bournemouth.
Bournemouth are pretty good. Played Lacazette.
No, we should not be drawing against Bournemouth.
Since when do you play for
I'm
Arsenal?
an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, you name
Dude.
a team, he supports them.
Dude, I'll tell you one thing, though. If they paid me £100,000 a week to get a massage and run practice, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Shoot, them trainers, the miracle workers, I'll be a massage having £100,000 a week.
There's so much I could say.
Yeah, let me move on to the
I want
comments.
to keep my job.
That was terrible.
But I was going to say, the 1-1, Everton won?
Yeah.
Everton won, first game for Carlo Ancelotti.
Oh, vamos los Toffees.
And by the way, did I see this correctly? Maybe somebody can leave the comment that Moise Kean, changed his number from 27 to 5. I think I saw that.
Moise Kean?
Maybe that was Keane, the center back who was on the bench. Never mind. Anyway, good win for Ancelotti. But Mikel Arteta 1-1 away to Bournemouth, and he played what I was going to say: Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Ozil in the starting 11.
It's about time. That's what you paid all the money for.
Yeah, apparently it didn't work, did it?
Yeah, they just starting. That's why.
We don't have much time. Let's look at some comments here. We got 4 minutes.
4 minutes. All right. Raul Rodriguez, says, I love all these fixtures in the Premier League. Holidays is the best thing. Wake up and watch football eating leftovers.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I'm not complaining about that, but we're not the ones who are, running on the pitch and doing all that stuff that I delineated before.
All right, just to go back to some other comments here. Abby Wood. I'm sorry, I can't. I got to do this.
Gotta take my glasses off to read the paper.
It says Abby Woodai. I hope I said that right, Abby. Abby Woodai. If Barca are going after Neymar, does that mean they will not go after Lautaro Martinez? All right.
Lautaro Martinez has a contract with Inter until 2023. I think
nothing.
You will be. Well, it doesn't. You're right. Contracts don't mean that much. But you know what does? Inter playing hardball and saying, you want Lautaro Martinez? Cough up 500 million.
I was going to say 500,000.
500,000.
Messi got
That's
that
like
in
his pocket.
Yeah, man. I think
I'll tell you who had that kind of money.
Cribs,
do you know who had that kind of money in his pockets?
Who?
Mario Balotelli. Do you remember when he was playing for Manchester City?
Oh, my
And he
goodness.
got stopped in a traffic stop and he had like 200,000 pounds in his car?
I ain't going to lie. I would do that.
The
But you better say, when you say 200,000 pounds, you mean currency. You better just clarify for the people there.
Yeah,
because you need to
yeah.
make
And
sure,
the cop apparently asked
Okay.
him, he goes, why do you have so much money with you? And he goes, because I'm rich.
Straight cash, homie. Straight cash. Joel talking about Arsenal here. Our Arsenal did draw, so Joel likes it, Arsenal as well. Let me see. Rich Murray, talking about my inability to read with my glasses, says, you need a bigger screen to see the comments. Stop using the phone screen.
Yeah, George. Although he does have the screen right there. And yet he's
If you
looking
knew
at the
behind
phone.
the scenes what's going on, Rich, you would see, okay?
Sometimes we have technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. All right. Let's see. Oh, man. Okay. What are your predictions for Leicester versus Liverpool?
You know what? I think this is going to be a win for Leicester, believe it or not.
What?
And it's wishful thinking on my part, obviously, because I want there to be a little bit of a race, some excitement in the Premier League. But look, Liverpool, they're burned out, man. I mean, there's a reason Klopp is the number one guy with the bugle, talking about how it's criminal that they have that many fixtures. They've just traveled from Qatar. It's not that long of a trip. But still, their legs may be tired. I think Leicester are going to go into this game super motivated, and Jamie Vardy is going to score a golazo.
And Jamie Vardy. Remember when they won the Premier League? Jamie Vardy was, one of the top goal scorers?
Yes,
again.
Scored 11 goals in a row. By the way, a record that has been equaled, I believe, today or yesterday by a player in the lower divisions in England. Am I right, Gabriel?
Well done.
He says yes. He says yes.
You can speak up.
He did not look like a deer caught in headlights. He said yes.
Yeah. Jean-Kiel, last one here. Jean-Kiel says, Leicester's playing very well and are coming in somewhat more fresh than Peñarol. Than Liverpool, my bad.
Peñarol.
Did I say Peñarol?
How did you get that?
Woo!
All right,
And
promo
too
time.
much Christmas
Promo
food. All right.
time.
We'd like to remind you that on Friday, the Turkish Super League is here on beIN Sports. It's an important game. Beşiktaş taking on Gençler Birliği. Let me say it again. No, that's
Gençler Birliği. I'll be on the call for that game.
You'll be on the call for that one. That is 12:55 p.m. Eastern. What is that in West Coast? 9:55 a.m. Pacific on beIN Sports. Big up all my West Coast dudes out there. I love you.
That's great math, like on the spot.
Yeah, man, that's the UM education.
It is. If you like Turkish football, and you should, because especially this year. We say this every year. Every year, the league is close, and the perennial power is no longer like throwing knockout punches. They're just jabbing. So big games all weekend long, competing with the Premier League, and we're being told it's time to say goodbye.
All right. Thank you for watching this Boxing Day edition of Sports Burst. Take care, everyone. I'm going to try and get my eyes fixed. Peace.
Bye, big soccer heads.